If we could have your attention, please. We have a public meeting on the budget. We're going to start that first. So if anyone has a question they would like to raise on the budget, this would be the opportune time to do that.
I'll quickly go through a few things. Before you should have a copy of that budget. If not, if you want one, there's some up here. Sure. In the expected revenues, which is on the second page, the property, I just pointed out some unique differences. The property tax in the general fund is up because we allocated less for liability insurance, which is Fund 06, and that was due to savings that we had on our liability premium with CIRMA. Replacement tax revenue from the state is expected to continue to decrease as well as the use tax. You'll notice those are substantially down. And in the departments, really the main rising expense is utility costs. We're expected to see a utility surge this June. In the administrative budget, the main difference there is in the new equipment, and we budgeted to purchase a new scanner for large documents. Cemetery increased there. The equipment was to replace the body of a 1-ton truck, and I think that's one thing that's probably going to be edited prior to the final budget, as that may come in a little bit higher than that. And then also in the maintenance department, with Mr. Rambo retiring, we'll be looking for a replacement for him, so we budgeted a little higher increase in salary while he would be training a replacement. Street repair, just the repair costs, we're seeing an increase in those, in parts and everything, so we made some adjustments there. The fire department and the ambulance, you'll see this is the first year we combined those two budgets for ease of budgeting. And costs for personnel, they're going to rise as that department, police department as well, as they start to get a little bit closer to full staffing. Both of them have been down for quite some time, so adding people is just going to show a higher personnel cost. The cemetery land, there's expected new revenues in that fund because of the new spaces that will be available this year. Mr. Melvin will be marking those out, and then hopefully they should be on sale this year. In the depreciation, there's a large purchase in there. That is, if you recall, the need to purchase an ambulance coming up this year. Fund 18, which is the capital improvement, you'll notice that reflects a larger increase in revenue. That is the 1% sales tax, 100% of that, which goes to infrastructure projects. Those infrastructure projects in that fund this year would be Boulder Drive, 1,500 feet. Then there's Livingston Street from Plum to Main, Howard Street, or Mill Street from Howard to Livingston, concrete on Norman Drive, and sidewalk in the 900 block of North Chicago Street, 800 block North Chicago, 200 block East Chestnut, and Fell Park as well, and a bike path in Play Park. The TIF one, that's Fund 19. That represents some increased revenue there. That's the upfront money that we received for the Centennial Plaza debt certificate, and you would see that expense going right back out as well. And then the following years, we will begin paying that debt service on there. There's also some bridge work on the Mill Street Bridge, some facade grant, and building rehab projects this year. Some of the rehab projects is the elevator at the rec center, the roof at the Chautauqua Players Building, and potentially some work at this building and some other building rehab generally throughout the TIF on city buildings. And we also budgeted for the housing study. There's money in there for that as well. The TIF 2, that you'll see increased revenues, expecting to get the ambulance substation project going this year. So that would be typically I mean, that would be representative like the TIF one where we're going to get the money and then we'll spend the money and then we'll get the debt certificate on that next year. The airport entry road and taxi lane project, that should move ahead this year. Those are TIPS projects, Transportation Improvement Program projects that have been programmed already, and we've already paid our share for those. However, we still need to pay our share, which is 5% for the taxiway and the fuel farm. So those projects are still coming. And you'll notice on the cannabis tax, most of that is in the community enrichment program for use for residential programming, Rockin' at the River, 4th of July, those types of different events. Some of that is also in the tourism budget. But I just felt it was important to note that tourism is in the budget as tourism because the hotel tax has to be used for tourism only. However, it's one department, community enrichment department, and they have overlapping duties. So some of that money works both ways. That the cannabis tax we're using for community projects, not tourism projects. And the sewer, as you recall, we increased the fees for the sewer. That's expected to raise $500,000 to help with the increased debt service for the $40 million plant upgrade, which through that upgrade itself will be roughly $33.5 million in payments to the IEPA for that project, after there was some debt forgiveness that with the principal and interest on that 20-year loan, $33.5 million. So that is what the bulk of that increase is going to help us to fund. If anybody has any other questions on the budget or any numbers, I will note that there's a couple of typos in there. One of them is in the fire pension, where the 25-26 beginning balance is formulated off of the wrong column. It should actually be the ending balance of 24-25, and it's the operations number instead. So I'll make that change on the final version.
Any questions to bring to the floor on the budget?
Okay. Then
Hearing
we'll
none.
schedule if we continue to look at that, and then we'll schedule a budget meeting here later this month. I'll get with the council and we'll come up with a date.
Real good. With that being said, we'll move on to our regular meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Barr.
Here.
Giovannini.
Here.
Eckhoff.
Here.
Callis. Lee.
Here.
Hauser.
Here.
Bradshaw. Here. Cranford.
Here.
Howard.
Here.
Willie.
Here.
Thank you. Almost a full house. We have 4 items on the consent agenda, if we've had time to peruse that.
I would motion acceptance of the consent agenda.
Thank you. Seconded by Scott. Roll call, please.
Barr.
Yes.
Giovannini.
Yes.
Eckhoff.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Hauser.
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Cranford.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Willie.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to the regular agenda, we have the United Way Summer Bash Plan. I see Deb's here. Maybe you'd like to get up and give us a layout.
We'd like to do the same thing we've done for the last couple of years. Close up Plum Street, pray there's no rain, where we all end up under Bob and Rito's cover. They would provide the alcohol again. HR would do the IDs. It last year, and he said they're setting up, and, you know, with the permission of you guys, and Daniel preferred in the dancing. So we'd like to go ahead and do that again this year.
Super.
Who's the entertainment?
Same band we had last year.
Okay. Doesn't matter, I was just curious.
What are your hours gonna be, Deb?
The DJ will play 5 to 7, the band will play 7 to 9.
Okay.
And a good time was had by all last year, as I recall.
Well, that's it was. We had to squeeze in under Bob and Ringo's thing, and they had a party going, but they had rented it out for. And I noticed all the cat pillow shirts. And I went up and they said, "You guys stay all night free on us," you know, because they're our biggest donors. So we didn't interrupt their party, and they didn't care that we did. So that worked out well.
Thank you.
You need a motion?
Yes.
I'd make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Mike, seconded by Frank. Roll call, please.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Eckhoff,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Cranford,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Barr.
Yes.
Thank you.
So much.
Good luck now. Take care. You want to?
Yep, sure.
Jim's going to introduce someone for us.
Yep, so I would like to officially introduce Brad Duncan as the new superintendent for the wastewater treatment plant. He began his duties here on March 12th. Brad comes to us, he lives in Fairbury. From 2010 to 2016, he was at the Fairbury as an operations technician at their wastewater treatment plant. From 2016 to 2023, he was their superintendent. And then from 2023 until just recently, he was the Gibson City superintendent. Brad comes to us with a lot of experience. He's been through a plant upgrade in Fairbury and has mapped out the plant upgrade in Gibson City. Educationally, Brad has the Emergency Resources Training Center at the Southern Illinois University in Edwardsville. He is a Class 1 operator for wastewater. He's also licensed in water, what do you call that? Water treatment. There you go, water treatment. And he's a Prairie Central graduate. We're very excited. Some of the accomplishments Brad has had. He was the operator of the year for the state of Illinois EPA in 2021. The Fairbury wastewater treatment plant under his direction was nominated for Plant of the Year in 2016. Like I said, the design and build of the Fairbury plant and the Gibson City, and also a design implementation of GIS system for Fairbury. And he's also serving as the executive president for the Illinois Association of, what is the WPCO? Waste.
Water pollution control.
There you go. Water Pollution Control Organization. All right. Brad, do you want to say anything?
Thank you for obviously offering me the job. I'm super excited to be here. Been boots on the ground since Wednesday, and it's been excellent so far. So everybody's been very accommodating. Thanks, everybody. But thank you.
Yeah, we're excited.
We are excited. Glad to have you with us. All right. Okay. The other guy is still on, what would you call that?
The beach.
Self-deportation?
Self-deportation. Yes. There you go. Good idea. Okay, moving along. Fire and Police Commission. We got a resignation from Dave Lopman, who, Dave only put in 54 years with the city as in the fire department, building inspector, and on the Police and Fire Commission. And he thought it was about time that he had a vacation, I guess, so. And fortunately, we had a really eager candidate to replace him, and we'd like to get Dale Newsom into that position. And Dale was excited for the opportunity to serve the city again. As you know, Dale was, at one time, our police chief, so we look forward to having him join that group, which is Jim Drenowitz and Dave Wayman. So we do need a motion to approve Dale.
I so move.
Motion by John Willie,
Second.
seconded by Jason Lee. Roll call, please.
Eckhoff?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Cowser?
Yes.
Bradshaw?
Yes.
Cranford?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Willie?
Yes.
Barr?
Yes.
Giovanini?
Yes.
Thank you. Like I said, Dale was extremely happy and looking forward to the opportunity. Moving on, blower installation. Who's up on that?
Still right up to the podium.
We get to yell at Brad now for spending money, so.
So soon?
That was quick. 3 days. 3 days.
As many of you know, there's, I think this was put in motion back in July of last year, that Jake and Katie had purchased a blower for the wastewater treatment facility. That blower has come in and now it's time to install it. We got a couple of quotes, one from G.A. Rich and Sons and one from CMI. They're both mechanical in nature. They both quoted ductile iron and then one quoted stainless steel. And the reason CMI quoted stainless steel was because of the lead times. Ductile iron right now, they really couldn't give us a definitive lead time. It was looking like probably a couple of months. Stainless steel, we could probably get it here in a couple of weeks. We are under a compliance commitment agreement with the EPA to get nitrates at the wastewater plant down. This is an imperative part of that, to get lower dissolved oxygen rates at the wastewater treatment facility. So this blower has a low CFM output, that'll keep our DOs lower throughout the year and allow us to reach those limits hopefully. I would definitely recommend CMI just because they came in at $35,000 even for stainless steel. And G.A. Rich and Sons came in at $35,686, so not relatively close to each other. But CMI, that's the stainless steel upgrade. Their DI spools and fittings for that quote was $34,400, so roughly 2,000 apart, 1,500. But I'm recommending the stainless steel pipe fittings because it will last longer, it dissipates heat better, and typically they're welded fittings and not the flange fittings with the rubber gaskets that go out over time.
Okay.
Any questions?
A necessity that we have to do, so, and it was part of the original plan, so. we'll go from
Okay,
there.
I make a motion to approve the blower installation.
Second.
Are we
Motion
supposed
by-
to have any documentation on this in our packets?
You know, yes, you should.
Okay, because we don't, or
Yeah.
at least I don't, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
It
just
will
was
be
curious
coming.
if I was just missing it,
No,
so.
I was too.
Yep.
Okay.
We do have a motion by Barb and second by Jason. Roll call, please.
Lee?
Yes.
Cowser?
Yes.
Bradshaw?
Yes.
Cranford?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Willie?
Yes.
Barr?
Yes.
Giovanini?
Yes.
Eckhoff?
Yes.
Thanks, Brad. Now we're going to get Chris up to talk to us about salt.
Good evening. It feels weird to have to order salt and spring, but that's how the state does our salt contracts. What I'm asking for approval tonight is permission for myself or Jim to enter into the agreement with the state. This is something they started last year. There must have been an issue a couple years ago where they didn't have voted on requisitions, I guess. So the state asks us every year now to submit this certificate of authority that our governing body allows us to enter into those agreements. So we're here tonight to ask for that permission. We have
I would motion approval of the certificate authority.
I'd second it.
For CMF.
Motion by Kelly, seconded by Jamie. Roll call, please.
Hauser,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Cranford,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Willie.
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Jovenini,
Yes.
Eckhoff.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
I imagine we have a surplus of salt, huh?
We do, I like to keep the dome full. It was about 7 or 8 years ago, we just about ran out. So, even though there's a lot there, I always like to keep it at max capacity anyway.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Moving on, we have a utility vehicle for the cemetery. I assume Mr. Melvin is going to tell us his needs.
As the mayor said, we'd like to purchase a utility vehicle for the cemetery. We have one now, it's a 2007. It's coming to the end of its life, so we'll use it for a water facilitator for downtown for the flowers this year. But had 4 bids, 3 from John Deere and 1 from Kubota. I'm recommending that we take the Kubota, which was the low bid of $26,343.12. Any questions? Yes.
Yeah, I checked online, and is the roof and the sides included in that 26,000?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so the basic that I found was 22,000.
Chris helped me with this.
I
so.
helped Jim with that.
Okay,
So the base unit is 22,000, but the cost to add the cab and all the
That's what-
things that go with that.
that's what my question was.
Yeah, I brought that up.
That's what the additional 4,000 was.
Yeah,
Yes.
so basically, the unit, if it was retail, would have been about 31,000. But we're buying this through the Sourcewell consortium that we're members of, which gave us a $6,000.
Right, I saw the 22%
Discount.
discount.
Yep,
Which is great,
yep.
okay.
But yeah, that's all add-on, because
I
that
kind of
unit,
figured that, but I need to ask.
yeah, that unit doesn't come standard with the cab, so they have to add that cab
Okay,
onto it.
all right, thank you.
Cab will make it more useful for doing small plowing in the winter.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I figured with,
Yeah.
you need that
We're
for
actually going
for
to
plowing.
add a 6-foot V plow, but we'll get that through our snow plow Western that we get our big plows from. It's cheaper to go through them, and we budgeted that for this coming year. This is a budget item for 24, 25.
And it's under what we budgeted.
I make a motion that we go ahead and approve the utility vehicle.
Second.
We have a motion from Barb, seconded by Jerry. Roll call, please.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Cranford,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes,
Willie,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Jovenini,
Yes.
Eckhoff.
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hauser.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. We appreciate it. Okay, next up is the Illinois Department of Transportation Street Maintenance.
Yep, this is the annual resolution that we need to send into IDOT for street maintenance. That street maintenance will cover all of our HMA and PCC and regular maintenance programs to make those purchases eligible through MFT funds. Must have been robot night again, Brian. Anyway, but this resolution is a requirement that the city engineer has put together for this year's MFT resolution.
Is this for next budget?
This is for fiscal year '26.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would motion approval of that.
Motion by Kelly, seconded by Scott. Roll call, please.
Cranford,
Yes.
Howard,
yes,
Willie,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Jovenini,
Yes.
Eckhoff.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Hauser.
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Thank you. Next up, the Art Car Project Committee. Liz is at the podium, ready to enlighten us.
Hello, council. After the last council meeting, when we approved the purchase of the art cars, Jim and I kind of spoke about what next steps should be. And so I would like to ask for the creation of a committee for, to kind of oversee the whole entire project. The committee would help create a request for proposal that we would have submitted to us, along with the parameters of the projects, and then also help us form an agreement that the artist and the city would enter into together, along with selecting the artwork from the proposals. My personal recommendation would be that we have a member of council, a member of the Greater Livingston County Arts Council, or the Art Center. You're probably more familiar with that. A downtown retailer, Main Street participant, and then also myself, Misty, administration if needed, would be there to assist the committee as well.
Sounds like a good group of people. Do we have a volunteer from the council, or would you like to submit your opportunities to Liz?
I volunteer.
Maybe, I was just gonna suggest maybe from somebody from the committee that oversees tourism.
I'd volunteer. I was on a tourism
There's a
board.
whole bunch
Yeah.
of volunteers.
See, we all want to.
Did somebody else?
We all like
Did somebody
working
else
with
read
you.
Thanks, Jamie.
Jerry?
I just have a question, and I'm not trying to would this be considered a committee that is subject to Open Meetings Act?
I would think not.
Yeah, Alan, what's your thought?
It'd be fine.
Yeah, should be, I mean, because we don't. there's
I
only
just want,
one-
because
only one
that
council
question may
member.
arise, I just,
Yeah,
You only have
we will.
one council member, and it's
Yep.
not a committee with formal legal action.
Right.
okay.
You're basically coming up with a form.
I would agree, I just want to make
Yeah.
sure that we,
But
make
I
that.
think it's important to include, based on last meeting, somebody from the arts sector to make sure that the parameters are appropriate for their community.
Whoever you choose, Liz.
What?
I said whoever you choose.
I would
We've
have,
spoken with the art council or committee, and I mean, Greater Livingston County Art Council, and they're aware that they could be on this committee and are excited about it as well.
Should be.
Liz, I think it'd be a good opportunity to get together with Jerry and work out on who else is on the committee. And
Sounds great.
keep moving forward.
Wonderful. I
All right.
appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Redwood annexation. Think you're gonna have to,
Yeah, we've got, as you recall, the city previously approved a pre-annexation agreement with the owners of what we know as Redwood Manufactured Home Park and Redwood Storage. And they are proceeding with their plans for the sewer connection this summer. And as part of the program, they actually need to be in the city. So I prepared an ordinance for consideration properties. Anybody needs to see something bigger than properties, anybody needs to see something bigger than what might be attached, I've got the actual annexation plan, which consists of the mobile home, the manufactured home park, storage facility, and the other storage. So it would assign the zoning classifications agreed, and because it had already been through the zoning board for the annexation agreement, I determined we wouldn't have to send it to the zoning board again, because we're just assigning what they already recommended you agreed to assign. So we're assigning appropriate zoning for them to maintain a manufactured home park on that property, and to maintain the storage on the other, which storage requires M1. I think we went with agricultural district for the manufactured home park with a special use for manufactured home park, and the two self-service storage facilities, signed an M1 zoning classification with special use for self-storage facilities, so. Everything's in good order. I've sent the notices to the taxing bodies back in late February. They've had more than the requisite time. And if this is approved tonight, I notify the election folks at the county clerk's office and the postal service for delivering mail. And then we record this, and Redwood will then become a part of the city. By the end of the week, it'll be a part of the city.
This was in Esmond Township before? 'Cause
That, if it,
that's what, section 3 is all referring to Esmond Township.
no, then I probably pulled it out of the ordinance I used would have been the airport piece that was over on the other side when we annexed that airport, so I will fix that.
Good catch.
Yeah.
Any questions other than the township?
And went to Pontiac Rural Park. And
Yeah, I figured as
Yeah.
much, but
that's who actually got the notice, by the way, so.
Yeah.
Who assigns the ward?
Excuse me?
Who assigns that, the park?
What ward does it go into?
Yeah. Does the county,
Does it go into?
Oh.
does the county assign that,
That's
the election?
we're assigning it by this, but it's close to, I called Mr. Wolford to check the map, and was it Ward 2?
I thought Ward 2.
Ward,
This
Ward 2
Ward
is
2.
contiguous right
yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I
Yeah, it's in
thought
that.
too.
And we assign that, and that's why we send it to the election authority, so they know what to do when they put people as registered voters for the
Right.
community.
That's,
Any other
Street maintenance belongs to us?
The inside the park is private. We will assume the road from Route 23 up to the last part of the parcel of the storage.
We have to annex, when we annex a property that's rural, our annexation already takes us to the other side of the road. So, I don't know what road number that is that goes between what I call the Grove Porter Farm and Redwood, is now just the Pontiac Township. And once we annex Redwood, even if we weren't annexing the part that's on the other side of the road, the storage, the whole road becomes, we go to the other side. So we'll have to, Chris's office will start maintaining that road. We don't do anything inside the park, because those are all private.
is Doug already on city sewer there, or is he not? Is he on septic there? Grove?
Grove?
No, they're not on the
No.
sewer.
Okay, that's one.
So it looks like a little over 70 or 80 households that are brought in.
We had to have, oh gosh, let me,
I'm just saying,
I had a list of all of the residents, because we had, the petition that these folks filed had to include at least 51% of the voters. And I think we determined this was 30, what was it, 51 maybe for 50,
It said 51.
for the petition. I've got the petition here.
Yeah.
okay.
She's
35,
she's
is
the
that what it was?
manager.
Okay, is that what it was? So we've got, they just were like one or two over the number, because we did a recount of it at the time we got the petition to make sure. I kind of asked Ron to get a couple extras just to give us a little more leeway, but we did get an appropriate petition. And if anybody wonders, when I was reading over the statute, annexations that happen during the cycle after filing an election petition aren't technically effective for voting purposes, at least, until after the election. So had we annexed in December, people would have still voted the way they were instead of being in the city. It's, I think it's 30 days, it's effective 30 days after the election it's involved. So, I know we were kind of during that election cycle where people would be. Obviously, the timing just didn't work to be earlier, but, that's addressed in the statute, which I did not know. Only by reading the statute did I find that, so.
But with the vote tonight, they will be part of the city.
They will be part of the city for property tax purposes for us, for sure.
Any other questions? If not, we'll need a motion to
Make the motion.
finalize this.
I'd make the motion.
Motion
I'll
by
second.
Jerry, seconded by Jason Lee. Roll call, please.
Howard,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Joe Vanini,
Yes.
Eckhoff,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Cowser,
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Cranford.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on, city electricity bid results.
So,
Jim.
yes, if you recall, you voted to authorize me to enter into an agreement for electrical results for street lighting and some city buildings. Those bids came in. Constellation was the low bid at 2 years. The 1 year bid was pretty substantially higher, and then the 3 year bid was just 1/100th of a penny more than the 2 year bid. When we went through, we do this process with NIMAC, and when we went through the discussions, what we were all told, we as the other cities who were participants of NIMAC, is that the grid that we're on, which is the PJM, is Illinois, and it heads all the way to the east to Virginia, that their capacity charge is in megawatts per day, and that was $28. And on this last page, you can see what the charges are coming up for this year. I said there was going to be an increase in June. It went from $28 a day to $270. So pretty substantial increase, and that's the supply. So I want to make that clear. That's for supply. So supply ends up being roughly, it's like a 34% increase, but on somebody's bill it's going to look more like 16%, because it's just a portion of, you have the supply, and then ComEd has the delivery, and then there's some service fees and that kind of stuff. So however, that was pretty substantial. As you can see in the past years, that's more substantial than it's been. I selected 2 years because that green line next to it, the state of Pennsylvania proposed that PJM use that as their high, as a ceiling, and then a floor of what next year's could be. And if that's approved, that's going to kind of box us into a position. And so you really wouldn't see a gigantic fall, which you probably won't anyway. But so 2 years gave us the best rate going forward. And most of the communities are opting for a 2 year bid on that rate. So right now, our rates are 6 cents a kilowatt hour, and they're going to go up to 8.05 cents. So it was, like I said, it was a pretty substantial increase in the delivery. 2 years gives us at least a pretty steady. Oh, and I wanted to say the projections that we were told from ComEd are going, they expected ComEd to be around 9.25 cents. So we would still save money off of them. Again, all projections. But our best option was to select 2 years and see what happens after that second year. There could be some law changes and things that happen. And if, so you're aware too, if there are any law changes that affect the supply rates, then these bids can be altered. The prices can be altered, so.
So that daily fee, that's not per our is it across the board?
It's across that whole grid. And so what I'm told that the reason why is data centers consume so much electricity that there's not enough supply on the grid to keep it at full capacity, which shoots up the energy cost for supply, and the winners of that are those suppliers. They're going to make out really big. And I mean, we can't control that
Right.
grid.
But this
at our
locks us in at the most reasonable
Yep.
possible rate that we could look at
Yeah.
for the next 2 years.
It was kind of known, they kind of expected that this was coming.
Yeah.
so.
It's a great impetus for solar.
It is, and they stated in the call as well that solar makes up about 1% of the energy supply on the grid. Even though like around here, we see so much of it, it just doesn't fill in a huge number on the grid. But I think in the end, it's a good reason why being part of a NIMAC group is so important for municipalities to band together to work to get some of these companies to make these bids.
Do we have any, I'm not sure how to ask this question, but do we ask, I mean, obviously not all of our utility costs, some are provided without cost by ComEd.
Correct.
Some of our buildings.
Yes,
But
we have some
by this
franchise.
list, we have a pretty substantial amount.
Yep.
Do we work towards any type of energy savings across, an awareness in our staff, just trying to
Yeah.
do what we can?
Yeah, so we just recently have been switching to different lights, and we've made changes as well in lighting and electricity to help control those costs. I know Brad has stated that in his capacity as well, the treatment plant is a large consumer of ours of electricity, so there are some things that we'll take a look at there as well that can help save electricity costs. But yeah, I mean, there are different programs ComEd has on upgrading. We've done a lot of the upgrading to LED lighting and more efficient lighting. But yeah, there's always things that we can look at and try and save costs.
Like, timed thermostats so that when their buildings aren't occupied, we're not, chucking out air conditioning, those kind of things that, it would pay off to
Absolutely.
maybe make some changes there.
Energy efficiency is our goal.
Right,
There you
yeah.
go. Okay.
I would motion acceptance of the NIMAC bid as you,
So this
you
was one
already-
that you've
just
already
for
authorized?
information.
Yeah, this is an
Okay.
update. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. We're locked in for 2 years, and we will see if we can have an upgrade after that and during that. Okay, substation update.
Yeah, so gift that keeps giving. So the substation, we got word from the USDA on our $500,000 loan that to proceed with the grant, there's more processes we have to go through because we selected design build. And they said this is gonna take time for them to go through the process. Our architect, Caius Jennison, said, well, what if we switch to design bid build, since we've already done most of the specking for this job? And they said, oh, well, yeah, if you do that, then you don't have to go through any of those processes, and we'll be pretty close to ready to bid. And so we were taking a look at that. Caius is going through those specs to put them into a design bid build process. Part of this would then require, Farnsworth is going to then come back to us with another services agreement, because another part of this is the USDA said, oh, and by the way, your architect has to have oversight of the construction project. So even if the city said we want to oversee it ourselves with our staff, they said, if you want the grant, the architect has to have the oversight. So they're going to put together another proposal for that. And I just wanted to, make it aware as well. In the design build, I don't see we're going to see any substantial increases in price because we're going to have another project services agreement, because the builders, architects would have charged us of those anyway. So we're basically kind of pulling that out of the process and returning it here. So Caius said as soon as he has that ready, he thought within this week that maybe that would be done and we'd get a copy at the next council to look at his project service agreement. So going forward, I think that's our best option, is to to get this thing moving, and it's been a difficult process, so.
But anything we can do to keep the ball moving, we
That's-
want to keep doing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
right.
that's what I read too. Okay. Moving on, mayor's comments. I have a couple. One of them was, did everybody get this poverty simulation that's going to be done by the United Way,
Yes,
mails and flyers? Have any of you signed up?
I'm going.
me.
Okay.
And they're doing that.
It should be
Yeah, I've already done that.
worthwhile, I would think, if you have the opportunity. I was looking at it, and I think it'd be good if we have a good feel for the entire community, see what's going on. Also in our packets, which I thought was a little early, was a business after hours next month, so we might want to make note of it out at St. James John W. Albright Medical Center. I think those are always good to go to. The other thing I had to comment on was the library. They had a great month in February and in March, and just doing a great job. And I think if we haven't had the opportunity to stop in and chat with the staff there, we ought to take a moment or two over the next couple of weeks and just give them a little attaboy, because they had a great turnout for the railroad and the other facility, the other activities that had going. So it's always good to give them that we know they're there and we know what they're doing. So they appreciate that. Other than that, we do have need for executive session, so I'm going to move on to city council comments. If anybody has anything to bring up. Barb?
I have had a couple visitors at my back door complaining about the residents on the corner of Walnut and Elmwood, and the address is 319 Elmwood. There is a vehicle in the front yard. There are 2 tires on one, there's no tires on the other 2. There's an empty flatbed trailer. One has tires, another one doesn't, and it's just assorted.
Did you bring that up to Greg
I am
Knowles?
right now.
No? Okay. I see he's
And
writing
actually-
feverishly, so
It
yeah.
actually wouldn't hurt to send the people that are at your back door Greg's way, but then make a phone.
Oh, absolutely, I already, yeah.
Yeah.
But they asked me if I would bring it up at the meeting Monday.
Okay,
So, it's done, thank you.
okay, thank you. Any others?
Do we know, are we, anything about the start of the parking lot yet?
So, nothing hard and fast. Brian's last, we were wanting to put messaging out. And so we put out some, but Brian said his last contact, they stated that it was either gonna be late this month or early next month. And it's our understanding that they're gonna start over the public safety complex first. And this lot should be fine during the election. So I don't expect it to start before the election.
Have we provided any, like, separate notification, like, to the schools and church that,
Right, so,
I mean,
yeah,
that's who primarily parks there every day?
Yep.
And,
So at this point, no, we have not, but we have talked about that in-house to get that ready to go. We were hoping to have a little clearer idea of when they might start, so we could send them a message saying, hey, on this date.
yeah,
Right now, if we send them a message, it's gonna be coming up soon. I mean, which we'll do, we'll, so they're aware that it's gonna be closed off, and as we get moving a little closer to that, and if we do get a hard start date, then we'll pass that along to them as well.
Any other comments? If not, city administrator.
Yep, a couple. You should have a paper about the Main Street huddle, the March huddle, which will be hosted by the Route 66 gift shop. The gift shop over across the street was remodeled this winter and looks really nice. And so they'll be hosting that huddle. That'll be a nice event there. Two things we have, I just wanted to say a thanks to the staff throughout this budget process. Working with them always makes my job so much easier because they know their departments, they know their needs, and as we go through putting those together and then making that match out with the revenues, I love working with them. And we also have a need for an infrastructure committee meeting to discuss 2 facade grants. There's potentially a third. I don't know if it'll make it in by the time we meet. I was hoping that maybe next week we could get that facade infrastructure committee meeting in, so that way it's done prior to our budget approval meeting.
How does Monday work for everyone?
Don't work for me.
Works for me.
What time's good, Frank?
4:30?
4:30?
I won't be able to be there.
I'm out too.
Me too.
5?
Would that make a difference?
Doesn't matter what time, I
Oh.
won't be here.
Okay, so Monday's out. How about another day?
Tuesday?
Tuesday?
John, Tuesday good?
Yeah, I'm good on Tuesday. I'm good on
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
4:30?
What time did you say?
4:30?
4:30 is good for me.
Tuesday, 4:30.
It's good for me.
25th?
Yep, 25th.
It's the 25th.
3:25,
Thank you.
4:30.
Okay, that's it.
Okay. Public comments. Anything, ladies, you'd like to?
I'll say something. My son would be happy I brought this up. My name is Tina Hammer. On behalf of Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, or Scouting America, my son is helping with the e-recycling on April 5th. So I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. If you haven't seen that, Livingston County is hosting the e-recycling in the Kmart parking lot again on April 5th. So bring out all your electronics. He would be very happy I brought that up. So that's
Well,
all.
thank you. We are too.
Thank you.
On my calendar.
April 5th. Okay, very good.
I think it starts at like 9 in the morning.
I think it's 9 to 11.
Still at Vermillion Plaza.
Kmart Plaza, or Vermillion Plaza. Okay. Hearing no more, we do need a motion to adjourn to executive session.
I so move.
Motion by Barb, seconded by Scott. Roll call, please.
Barr,
Yes.
Joe Denning,
Yes.
Echo,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Cranford,
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Lily.
Yes.
Thank you. We will adjourn to executive session in about 3 to 5 minutes.